What's going on, everyone? Hey, today we are going to watch. We're not going to read this article yet, but we will maybe tomorrow. But we are going to watch a TED Talk by this guy. His name's Barrington Irving. Barrington Irving. And back in 2007, he became the youngest person to fly solo around the world, or circumnavigate is like one of the fancy words you'll hear. Circum, like circumference. So he literally flies around the world. Youngest person to do that at 23 back in 2007. Unfortunately for him, let me share this with you. Nah, I didn't share it. He has been overtaken by a few people so far. I think the youngest person, if I can bring this up, is like 17 or something crazy like that. Where is it? Somewhere down there. Yeah, 17-year-old guy right there has beaten him. But at one point, he was the youngest person. And the reason I think the company that we have our textbook from chose this guy is because he is pretty inspiring. That's what this next unit is going to be about, is about inspiration. And I just wanted to point out a couple things about him as we go through this video, where it's like, he might be leaving some parts out. I'm not saying he's lying, but he's trying to tell a story too. He's trying to be funny and entertaining when he tells a story. But there are a couple things that kind of beg a question or two. And then I just want to briefly tell you about me personally, how I sort of do this thing called embrace the suck, which I learned, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And I'd like to just tell you about it. But first, this guy, Barrington Irving, Jamaican guy, but he moves when he's really young. I'm not sure how old. He moves to Florida. So he's called usually like a Jamaican American, since his parents were Jamaican, but he very influenced by American culture. Like when you hear him talk, very, very faint Jamaican accent. So I'm probably an American. I think we can claim him as an American guy, but he took a lot of risk and did it without like some money at some point. But a very smart guy. Like, don't lose sight of that. When we read the article, he graduated magna cum laude, which is like the highest you can graduate from his aviation school. So brilliant guy. But he does take a lot of risk. He's going to tell you a story about how he got into his car with very little money, drove from Florida to Mobile to this engine company, and just got a meeting with the CEO. A very entertaining story. And just about like he didn't care. He did whatever it took. And if it meant, skipping some showers for a couple days and sleeping in his car, like that's what he did. Now, then he's going to tell a story about how he trained to fly near mountains out west. So he must have had some money to do that. I'm not sure where he got that money. He is going to talk about getting that sponsor from the engine company, because what he was about to do would probably have made national, maybe even world news. So a sponsor, like they would want their name somehow associated with him for publicity. So we're going to find out his airplane cost like $650,000. He's going to say he had like $30 in his pocket. So I'm not sure if he leaves that out. Somebody must have sponsored him to go fly. It's not cheap to go fly and train in these other areas. He just doesn't mention it. And he's going to mention another story about like flying over Saudi Arabia during a sandstorm. And he's like, you just can't land in Saudi Arabia to wait out a storm. And I'll be like, I'm going to counter that by saying, yeah, you can. Like he had to have clearance. Like there had to have been a ton of planning that went into this mission, this desire to fly around the world, because you can't just fly over Saudi Arabia and like without their permission. They would shoot you down if you're over their airspace. So he had clearance, and I think he could have landed if he had to. So that's him. And I just want to talk about, like, I guess personally me, without getting too personal, because I'm sure you don't care too much, but this thing called embrace the suck. When I was in middle school and elementary school, like, I was so worried about not doing everything perfectly. And then I don't know, maybe like in my late 20s or something like that, I was just like, I don't care if I suck at first. I'm just going to get through that. So, and that really helped me do a couple things, like just admit, okay, I suck right now, but if I work really hard, like, I won't suck eventually. And I started watching like a lot of hiking videos, I think on YouTube or whatever. And that's where I think I came across that term, but I think it originates with, I think, the Navy SEALs. So if anybody's looking to go into the military, or if anybody's looking to go into like special services, right? You have to embrace the suck. That means, like, to get somewhere that you want to be, it's going to be hard. So, like, when I started YouTube, obviously you start at one subscriber, and I've been at it almost 3 years now, and I'm only at, subscribers aren't everything, but it's a pretty good benchmark. Like, I'm almost at like 12,000, which for YouTube, and I know you might, like, whatever, YouTube sucks, nobody watches YouTube anymore. Well, the people my age do, and those are the people who run companies. So, like, TikTok, I got like 400 followers or whatever you call them. I think I'm just too old. People watch me they just keep scrolling. So, but on Facebook, another old platform. I'm sure nobody your age is on Facebook, but like, I got 24,000 followers just last month. Like, something happened after like 2.5 years of just kind of like struggling, and then boom, something hits, and maybe I just got better or whatever. So I guess the long story short is companies are reaching out to me, and now I have enough like kind of clout or whatever that I can reach out to them. So I don't know if it's going to happen in 2023 where a company is like, oh yeah, this guy, because what comes with, like, I have one Facebook video that has like 350 or 60,000. It grows each day. 360, let's say 360,000 views. So what I can do, and I started a couple days ago, I went to this company, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Visits it's called. And in the past, they've sponsored people to like go to their country and then just like put it on their YouTube channel or whatever. So, and companies reach out to me all the time. I think I said that, like, it took me 3 years, and I'm still not there yet, but like, you have to be willing to just kind of suck for a long while. Like, maybe I still suck, right? But at least I'm getting to the point where, like, probably the Saudi Arabia company will say no. I would love to fly there. I would love for them to pay me to fly there, and then they pay me to visit these landmarks, and I teach English there. I probably don't have, like, I got like 50,000 combined with Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, people to influence or whatever. So it might not be enough quite yet, but look at it on a long-term basis, like in another year, maybe that will open, new possibilities to me doing things that I couldn't do before this channel. So, and that's the thing. I don't think YouTube's going away anytime soon. And it's probably only going to get bigger in other countries. There'll be more influence. So we'll see about TikTok. But when you think about TikTok, I don't want to get on too much of an old man rant, but like, a lot of times you're just scrolling and you're not really connecting to that person who's making those videos. It's different with YouTube, where you sit and watch somebody for 10 minutes or like an hour. Some of my lessons are an hour. People, I think, connect with YouTubers on a different level than they would like TikTok. You're just scrolling. You probably don't know their name. So anyway, I might be rambling on a little bit too much, but the long story short, like with Frank and Beans, like, I don't know, I wrote that like 10 years. I started writing that like 10 years ago, and I got rejected a lot. I'm still like, I haven't sent it out for a while, but I'm still getting rejected. Not still, but up until the last, like, you have to send out these letters to agents to represent you. I did get represented. But then when it went to the next level to go to editors, that's when I got, pushback. It's very hard, or it was at the time. But let's say I have combined 100,000 or whatever, or million. I think in a couple years it could be up to millions. A bit of a stretch. I think 100,000 would be possible, like on YouTube. A publisher, I could say, hey, I have all these people, they might buy my book, right? So, it's just like, don't be afraid to suck at something. If you want to try something new, like I started learning Italian like 3 years ago. I still suck at it, but it's just like, don't be afraid to suck for a little while and look at it like long term. If you do have a passion for something, don't be afraid to like look like an idiot for a year or 2 or 3, whatever it is you're doing. Depends on how hard it is, what you're doing. But like I told myself when I started YouTube, like I'd give myself 4 years, because college degree, right? Most of them take about 4 years. So I think getting through high school takes about 4 years. I think 4 years is it's a long period of time, but I think it's a good, like if you can stick with something for 4 years, like sports. I know a lot of you like train really hard as it is, and that's what it's gonna take, is training hard for something. And like I think sports is a great way to learn how to fail. It's a great way to learn how to lose too. So sports can be one of those things where it's like, yeah, hey, I suck right now. If something comes easy to you, great. At some point it won't, because you're just going to keep leveling up. And at some point you're going to really have to struggle. I think in high school with grades, like middle school for the most part is pretty easy, I think. But if you try really hard in high school might be easy for some people too, but there will be, if you challenge yourself enough, you should reach a point where you're not doing as well, right? And then you have to get over that next level. So keep challenging yourself. That's what this whole unit is about, is having some setbacks, but still continuing. And this guy, Barrington Irving, is like a great example of somebody who didn't give up. The odds were stacked against them. They didn't have the money, but with a personality and with that CEO in the engine company, like, man, if you're willing to do that and work your way, somehow charm people to come see, like, yeah, you got something. Yeah, we want in on this. So hope you enjoy this. Tomorrow we'll probably read the article, and maybe we'll do half of the TED Talk today and half the TED Talk tomorrow. But I've rambled on for 12 minutes. Hopefully you got something out of it, a little nugget of something. And of course, if anybody has any questions, answers, comments, I'd love to hear what you have to say too. So adios.